For the first time in European history, an organization registered with the European Commission and Parliament is finally bringing military pilots and trained observers directly into meetings with elected officials to discuss UAP encounters. And some members of Parliament are finally speaking out about it. Right now, the UAP Coalition Netherlands is writing to all 720 members of the European Parliament, demanding a separate category for UAP reports and European aviation safety protocols. But while Europe is finally organizing, unknown objects are shutting down major airports, breaching military bases, and displaying flight patterns identical to incursions over U.S. nuclear missile sites. We are seeing patterns of the same dynamic over multiple years and over multiple continents. As always, I'm here to report the information without bias, and you can decide what to believe. You can find the sources in my detailed articles at ufonews.co, along with in the description box below. Hey ufologists, I'm Cristina Gomez, and welcome to this episode of UFO News Updates. Here is what Joachim Decker mentioned on European UAP talks.
Why are there trained observers who see something that they cannot identify, and why are they being made fun of? So I just started looking into the topic. I started looking in my own country, the Netherlands. Were there similar cases? And there were. And I also found that that was the case also in the European Union. So that's when I knew those professionals needed help. Nobody was like really organized. Of course, there was MUFON and some other organizations, but they were not politically active. So I just founded the coalition to help those trained observers.
The coalition writes to all 720 members of the European Parliament when relevant topics appear on the agenda, requesting meetings to discuss UAP issues related to flight safety, scientific research, and reducing the stigma. Some members are becoming more vocal. Members of European Parliament like Fabio De Masi and Lucas Mumble from Austria have publicly recognized that stigma should not negatively impact safety for European citizens. Most members still meet only privately, but the coalition is making progress through a powerful strategy. They bring witnesses directly to meetings with members of Parliament. Founder Joachim Decker describes how when trained observers can speak directly to decision makers, you can see this visible relief. For many professionals, this is the first time they can discuss their own experiences with someone in power without fear of ridicule. The coalition is petitioning for a separate UAP category within European aviation safety reporting protocols. Currently, no such category exists, and they want pilots to have a clear, standardized way to report these encounters across all EU member states.
In regards to the European Union and flight safety, there are approximately 32,000 flights per day in European Union airspace, which is a lot. You can imagine if a aviation professional like pilots, if they're up in the air and they are working and they see something that they cannot explain or that they cannot identify, and there's no communication with UAP, there's no flight plan. Mostly they're not even on radar, and it's also something that we discuss when we speak to the European Commission or when we speak to members of the European Parliament if they are interested in flight safety.
When pilots encounter unidentified objects in crowded airspace, flight safety becomes critical. These objects typically do not communicate, have no flight patterns, and often do not appear on radar. Here's a question. Do you think Europe's approach of bringing witnesses directly to government officials is more effective than the U.S. congressional hearing model? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoy UFO news, updates, case studies, and interviews, and you will like this channel, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this episode with those you want to keep in the know with the latest UFO news. While this political groundwork is being laid, active incursions are occurring across European airspace. In late September and early October of this year, unknown objects forced repeated shutdowns at Copenhagen and Munich international airports. And at the same time, unidentified craft were observed over military bases and critical infrastructure throughout Germany and Belgium. Danish, Belgium, and German authorities have confirmed these incursions are real, as documented in the Souls Foundation October 2025 briefing. And it seems that more strange information is coming forward.
According to German news outlets, a, quote, drone network with Mother Drone, end quote, flew over the Kiel University Hospital on September 25th. Later that evening, a, quote, large stationary drone and several small flying objects, end quote, were observed over the Kiel Canal, which hosts a key naval base and several major industrial facilities.
The Kiel Canal hosts a key German naval base and major industrial facilities. This was a coordinated operation over sensitive infrastructure, displaying what researchers call the Mothership dynamic, a large stationary object surrounded by multiple smaller objects operating in coordinated patterns. And this exact flight pattern has been documented repeatedly over the last 6 years, thousands of miles away from Germany. The Soul Foundation's analysis reveals the Mothership dynamic in Germany has appeared repeatedly across the United States since 2019. Internal FAA and U.S. Air Force emails obtained by researcher Doug Johnson document this pattern in December of 2019 and in January of 2020 over Wyoming, Nebraska, and Kansas. An FAA investigator reported a Chase County, Nebraska sheriff deputy observing 30 to 50 objects flying independently with a larger mothership hovering for hours. A Kansas Highway Patrol pilot described how a trooper observed an object with an extremely bright light with 10 to 15 other objects that flew various patterns around it. When one object flew directly over the trooper's house at approximately 200 feet, it made absolutely no sound. And here's a critical detail. These observations were near the Francis E. Warren Air Force Base, which oversees 200 nuclear missile silos.
Now, at the same time, a January 6, 2020 internal Air Force email from Francis E. Warren Air Force Base, which oversees 200 nuclear missile silos and their launch control facilities spread out across vast rural areas of Wyoming, Colorado, and Nebraska, describes an observation of a, quote, swarm of 30, end quote, objects that, quote, were following a mothership, end quote. Notably and perhaps alarmingly, another Air Force email dated January 2nd, 2020, describes these objects as being, quote, clustered in an area that has quite a few Minuteman missile sites, end quote. These are references to the nuclear missile silos in that area.
Now, in 2025, German authorities report the exact same dynamics over their critical infrastructure. The Soul Foundation states it stains all credibility to believe such specific flight dynamics would appear over multiple counties, states, and now countries purely by coincidence. Unknown objects have repeatedly breached some of the most sensitive U.S. military facilities with complete impunity over the past several years. In late 2023, objects flew over Langley Air Force Base in Virginia nightly for 3 weeks, resisting all jamming efforts, according to retired NORAD Commander General Glenn Van Herk. And then in late 2024, the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base tracked up to 17 unknown objects and was forced to close its airspace, with similar incursions occurring at multiple U.S. military bases in the United Kingdom, including facilities believed to host nuclear weapons.
On October 10th, Breaking Defense reported that current NORAD commander, General Greg Guyot, stated that the U.S. government has not established any links between these truly bizarre, brazen incursions over critical military facilities and any foreign governments. Now, that frankly, is quite astounding. It means that an unknown actor has demonstrated and continues to demonstrate the ability to repeatedly violate sensitive airspace, from naval training areas 100 miles off the coast of California to the Air Force's most sensitive facilities, with complete and utter impunity.
NORAD publicly stated they have not linked these incursions to any foreign government. If these are not Russian, Chinese, or any other known adversary, officials need to explain what they are. For the third consecutive year, Congress failed to pass the UAP Disclosure Act, the UAPDA, despite bipartisan sponsorship from Senate leaders. But that's not the case for the rest of the world. The UAP Coalition Netherlands created a sample letter on their website that any European citizen can send to their representatives in the European Parliament their UFO encounters. Deckers emphasizes that these letters matter.
Know that you are not alone. Even if you're not a trained observer, if you have something to report, speak about it openly with people you trust, or just at least contact an organization within your own country. If there's not an organization within your own country, you can always contact us, UAP Coalition Netherlands. And there are other organizations within the European Union that you can also contact. But please know that you are not alone. You are being taken seriously by several politicians, and it's very important that as a community that we come together to let those people in power know that this is a serious topic.
For the first time, Europe has an organization with official government registration bringing trained observers directly to decision makers. Members of parliament are speaking publicly. Standardized UAP reporting protocols are being petitioned. Real progress is happening, but unknown objects are breaching the most sensitive military airspace across multiple continents right now. The Mothership pattern over German naval facilities in September of this year is identical to incursions over U.S. nuclear missile sites in 2019, 2020, and 2024. These objects resist all countermeasures. They operate with complete impunity, and officials confirm they cannot link them to any foreign government. This pattern isn't going away. Actually, it's escalating. The UAP Coalition Netherlands has given European citizens the tool to demand answers. The question is whether enough people will actually use them. I'm Cristina Gomez, and that is it for today. I will see you again next time for another UFO news update. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the skies. If you enjoyed today's show, hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit the notification bell as I do daily UFO news and updates. Fresh UAP stories, government disclosures, and breaking developments land here every single day.